Hello everyone, hello grade 10 students. It's me again, Ma'am Terebuena, your guidance counselor. So we are here today to discuss the first ever homeroom guidance module for grade 10, which is entitled Decoding the Secrets of Good Study Habits. Ayan, I am pretty sure that you are all excited already for this module, so let's go.
So this is how your homeroom guidance quarter 1 module 1 looks like. Again, the title of module 1 is Decoding the Secrets of Better Study Habits. Okay. So here you can see on page 2 the intellectual property code of the Philippines and the author and writers of this module. Ayan. And on page 3, you can see there a statement for your parents. So this is entitled Gabay sa Magulang or Tagapag-alaga. So let us try to have this. Dulot ng napakaraming pagbabago sa pamumuhay ng bawat Pilipino ang pandemyang nararanasan ng buong mundo. Sa gitna nito, ang Department of Education ay kaisa ng inyong tahanan upang maipagpatuloy ang edukasyon ng lahat ng mag-aaral sa buong Pilipinas. Dalawa sa mga pamamaraang ito ang paghahanda ng Learning Continuity Plan at ng Most Essential Learning Competencies or MELCs. Sa taong ito, inihanda ang homeroom guidance during crisis or MELCs na naglalayong matulungan ang inyong mga anak upang maipagpatuloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng mga pagbabagong dulot ng pandemya. Ang homeroom guidance ay naglalayong maituro ang kasanayan sa buhay o life skills sa pamamagitan ng self-directed learning modules. Nakatuon ito sa tatlong mahalagang domain, ang academic, personal, social at career development. Binigyang focus sa homeroom guidance MELCs ang mga gawaing makakatulong sa lahat ng mga mag-aaral na magkaroon ng rasyonal na pag-iisip or rational thinking, malusog na pag-uugali or healthy behavior at positibong disposisyon or positive disposition na higit na kailangan sa panahong ito. Malaki ang gampanin ng mga magulang upang mapagtagumpayan ang mga gawaing nakalatag dito. Kakailanganin na mag-aaral ang inyong patnubay at gabay sa module na ito, kung kaya hinihingi ng kagawaran ng inyong suporta upang mapagtagumpayan ng mga mag-aaral ang hamon sa buhay, maisakatuparan ang mga inaasahang gawain at higit sa lahat, matutuhan ang mga kasanayan sa buhay na kailangan nilang taglayin sa yugtong ito. Ito ay naglalayong paunlarin ang mga gawit pamamaraan sa pag-aaral. Lubhang mahalaga ang module na ito lalo na sa panahon ngayon ng pandemya kung saan gagamit ng alternatibong pamamaraan sa pagkatuto ang mga kabataan nang hindi nangangailangan ng pisikal na presensya sa paaralan. Mahalagang patatagin ang magagandang gawi ng mag-aaral gayon din ang mga isinasagawa niyang pamamaraan sa pag-aaral. Inaanyayahan po ang mga miyembro ng pamilya na makilahok sa mga gawain sa module na ito na nangangailangan ng inyong partisipasyon tulad na lamang ng mga naobserbahan ninyong gawi ng mag-aaral. Hikayatin ang ibang mga anak na makilahok sa gawaing nabanggit. Mangyaring tulungan ang mag-aaral upang maisagawa ang mga itinakdang gawain para sa module na ito. Siguraduhin may magagamit siyang kagamitan. Isa rin itong magandang pagkakataon upang magkaroon ng interaksyon ang mga miyembro ng pamilya. Ang inyong suporta at paggabay ay napakalaking bagay. Tiyakin na sasagutin ng mag-aaral ang bawat bahagi ng module at siguraduhing maipapasa sa gurong tagapayo ang natapos na mga gawain. Please let your parents read that part so that you can ask for their cooperation while answering this module. So kakailanganin natin ang gabay, ang pakikiisa ng buong pamilya, lalong-lalo na ng inyong mga magulang. Okay. So for you, my dear learners, the introductory message, it is said here that as a responsible learner, it is of utmost importance that you check on your study habits. To ensure your success in your studies, you should develop effective study habits and overcome distractions that might affect your focus on learning. It is also important to be always reminded that you are not studying to get higher grades, but most importantly, to acquire competencies that will help you achieve your life and career goals in the future. Work on the task seriously and seek help if you believe you need to. Embark on this journey of developing effective study habits and achieve optimum learning in this school. So this learning module has 6 interactive activities such as let's try this, which will help you to get ready to learn. Let's explore this, which will guide you towards what you need to learn. Keep in mind, which will give you the lessons that you need to learn and understand. You can do it, which will help you apply the lessons learned in daily activities. What you have learned, which will test and evaluate your learning. Share your thoughts and feelings, which will help you express your thoughts, opinions, and feelings. Make sure to read, think, follow, and enjoy every task that you are asked to do. Have fun, stay safe, and healthy. Okay, these are the learning objectives for Module 1. At the end of this module, you are expected to, number 1, describe the importance of developing study habits. Number 2, justify the value of study habits designed as a tool in achieving optimum learning in school. And number 3, realize your effective and ineffective study habits. So you will be doing this within 60 minutes. And what are the materials needed? We have number 1, the Me and My Study Habits sheet. So number 2, Homeroom Guidance Notebook. And number 3, pen and paper. Ayan. So let's have the introduction. This is your last year in junior high school. And by now, you can already observe how you have been studying for the past 3 years. You have already developed certain patterns to accomplish the school tasks and requirements, including your exams, projects, paperwork, and many more. This module entails you to check how you have been doing your study habits and classify them as effective and ineffective based on your experiences and practices. So let's start your journey. So here, for the first activity, okay, for 15 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to recall and write a situation where you were so happy, proud, and satisfied with your school performance. It can be a high rating for a well-done project, wonderful performance task, group work, or even a high score in exams in the previous grade levels or quarters. Ano ba yung mga moment or situation wherein you felt very happy, you were proud, and you were satisfied with your school performance? So, after recalling, okay, you are going also to remember your feelings and your reactions, and if there were simple celebrations or any acts or joy or any acts or celebrations or acts of joy you had. Try to capture that moment as you write it on a piece of paper to be followed by your answers to the processing questions. Ayan. So, you can write as many as you can, or kung wala ka man sa tingin mo, kung hindi ka naman talaga achiever, so something that you can be proud of, some achievement or recognition that you get from studying hard. And then after that, you're going to answer the following processing questions. Number 1, how did you feel after the activity? And number 2, what made the situation possible? And number 3, what specific things or actions did you do to be in that particular moment? Ayan. So dito, malalaman natin kung ano yung dahilan bakit mo nakamit ang ganong klaseng achievement. Why were you able to achieve that award or that wonderful performance task? Okay, kung project man yan, how were you able to attain that situation? And what specific things or actions did you do to be in that moment? Ano ba yung mga ginawa mo? Bakit kaya sa tingin mo nakarating ka sa moment na yon? Or why do you think, what are the things that you did why you were able to achieve that particular situation or moment? Okay, for example, You were very happy when you got the highest score in an examination. That was the first time. So for example, yun ang unang beses na naka-perfect ka. Or for example, there was a time that you got a perfect score in mathematics. So very rare itong mangyari, yet you were so happy when you got a perfect score in math. Okay. So ano kaya sa tingin mo? Ano ba yung mga ginawa mo why you were able to achieve that particular moment? Okay. Why were you able to get a perfect score in your math quiz? Okay. And next, you're going to answer this part. Let's explore this. So suggested time allotment is 30 minutes. So what you're going to do is now let us have another activity to help you further discover the importance of having a good study habits and math methods. Our activity is entitled Me and My Study Habits. So sabi dito, there are ups and downs in a student life. Agree or disagree? Of course, agree. There are times that you get your desired grades and there are times that you feel you're not making it. In the past 9 or 10 years of schooling, try to reflect and write your personal study habits. Okay, magre-recall tayo. In the past 9 years or 10 years of schooling, ano ba yung personal study habits mo? Classify them as effective and ineffective based on your experiences. Make 2 columns on your piece of paper for your answers, like the one shown below, and write also your answers to the processing questions after. So you're just going to identify kung yung personal study habits mo bang yon ay effective ba or ineffective. Like for example, one of my personal study habits is I study during night time wherein everybody is asleep already. Kasi ayoko ng maingay pag ako ay nag-aaral. So that particular habit, that is my personal study habit. So how are you going to classify that? Is that an effective or ineffective study habit? Another personal study habit is I tend to study in groups, or I want to study in groups or with my friends or with my schoolmates. Okay, how are you going to classify that? For example, you identified it as one of your personal study habits. So how are you going to identify it? Is that an effective study habit or an ineffective study habit? Okay. So after you identified your personal study habits, you're going to answer the following processing questions. Number 1, what were your considerations in classifying your study habits? Ano ba yung mga kinonsider mo para ma-classify mo siya na effective or ineffective? Okay. Did you consider the amount of learning you had? Did you consider the result of your effort to study? So, how are you able to consider that personal study habits as effective or ineffective? And number 2, do you still have those ineffective study habits with you today? So now, take a look at your answer. Tingnan mo ngayon yung ineffective study habits. Meron ka pa rin ba nitong mga ineffective study habits mong ito? And baka naman, kailangan na natin silang tanggalin. So if you have that one, sabi dito sa number 3, how do you intend to improve your effective study habits and overcome the ineffective ones? Napakaganda na magiging realization natin dito kasi sasabihin natin kung paano natin i-improve pa yung mga nakalagay doon sa effective study habits at ano naman kaya ang mga gagawin natin para ma-overcome yung mga ineffective or ma-improve yung mga or mabago yung mga ineffective study habits. Syempre, pag ineffective, hindi natin dapat ulitin pang gawin ito. Definitely, we have to eradicate or remove those habits in order for us to study well or to improve our study habits. Okay. And now, we're going to discuss this part, so I will help you. It's kinda lengthy, but we'll try to have this, okay? So, but because this is very important, so at least matulungan ko man lang kayo na ma-explain itong part na to sa part ko din bilang inyong guidance counselor. Okay, so here, sabi dito, the title of this part is Break Free from Your Faulty Study Habits. Napakaganda nito. Kasi, paano ba tayo makakawala, okay, makakaalis sa mga faulty, okay? Hashtag, faulty study habits. Okay? Kasi, meron tayong kanya-kanyang study habits. Yun nga lang, we thought that those study habits, sometimes we thought that those study habits are effective. But, kasi hindi natin tinatry na i-classify kung effective. Basta sinabi natin, these are my study habits. Now, you didn't even had this chance naman yata to classify it if it is effective or ineffective. But now, in this particular activity, since you know already that this is ineffective, paano ba tayo makakawala dito sa mga ineffective study habits na to or yung tinatawag nga natin na faulty study habits? Sabi dito, being a student for almost 9 to 10 years, you must have a form of study habits. You must have formed a habit of studying your lessons and accomplishing the school tasks to pass each grade level. Okay, meron na kayong na-form na habit. Tagal ba naman 9 years na. So therefore, along the way, you got to test what works for you and what's not. It is important for you to be mindful of those patterns that bring you to your academic goals for the school year, while try to get rid of those proven to be bad for your school performance. Hence, we want to bring to your attention the faulty study habits that you might still have in the hope of changing it with a helpful one. Okay. Ano ba yung mga faulty study habits that we have? Okay. Tingnan natin Sabi dito, number 1, studying for the sake of doing it. Dahil kailangan mong mag-aral, so you're gonna do it. So, when was the first time you asked yourself, why am I studying? Tinanong mo man lang ba yung sarili mo, why I am studying? Okay. What do I intend to gain from it? Ano ba yung makukuha ko? Good grades ba? A good job later ba? Or trabaho ba? Magandang trabaho ba? Or am I studying because of personal fulfillment? Or acceptance in college? So, you have to clarify your intention. Ano ba yung pinaka-intention mo? Ano ba yung pinaka-reason mo why you are studying? Or even, ano ba yung nagmo-motivate sa'yo why you are studying? Because if you cannot see the point of studying, then it will only make it boring and tedious. So, maboboard ka talaga kasi wala kang goal, wala kang nakikitang motivation para mag-aral ka. Pero kung ang intention mo daw ay clear, then studying can be meaningful to you. Ayan, napakaganda ng point na to. So, in times of crisis like this COVID-19 pandemic, where you have to stay at home, you may find it difficult to study given the circumstances of doing household chores or being surrounded by siblings or playing or watching television. But bear in mind that the only way to form a study habit in times of pandemic is to study. Okay? So, in spite of temptations to play, watch television, storytelling, or getting busy with gadgets. So, nasa sayo yan. It's a matter of self-discipline. How are you going to convince yourself to study? Number 2, another faulty study habits that you might have is when you study by impulse or studying by impulse. So, are you an impulsive student? Okay, in terms of studying. Have you experienced doing your homework, reviewing for an exam, and doing your project without analyzing how they should be prioritized and scheduled? If so, then you must have overwhelmed, stress, and anxious how to do it all at the same time. It may be a result of lack of careful planning and assessment of your tasks to do, and it would help if you try to enumerate the things to do, rank them according to date of submissions, or even the time needed to do it. So you may also account for other considerations to strategically sequence your activities. So keep in mind that the clearer your study plan is, the more chances of accomplishing it well without feeling too much anxiety. Sometimes because sometimes, diba, we become overwhelmed with a lot of things that we have to do, especially when we have our exam. So, since ang dami nating gagawin, so yun ang experience natin. So, we just study without even thinking of what to do first and what should be the least thing to do. So, therefore, we have to analyze first and prioritize things so we will not cram, okay? We will not so that our time will be enough for all of our activities. Another, number 3, studying long but still unproductive. Ayan, na-experience nyo na ba yun? Ang tagal-tagal nyo na nag-aaral pero parang wala pa rin naman kayong natututunan at walang nagsisink in sa isip ninyo. Okay, so therefore, you are becoming unproductive. You need to be mindful what time of the day your mind works well and very receptive to learn. Okay? Try to notice yourself when you are at your best reviewing and in doing your project. Among other activities, while also considering the other things like physical setup, deadlines, and health condition. Morning person ka ba? Evening person ka ba? You have to think about it. You have to analyze yourself kung alin ka, saan ka ba mas productive. And at the same time, tingnan mo din kung ano ba yung mga dapat mong i-review. Okay? Ano ba yung mga dapat na activities na kailangan mo i-consider. Like for example, your health condition, baka naman masama talaga yung pakiramdam mo, kulang ka sa tulog. So therefore, yung study period na inallocate mo, yung time na inallocate mo for studying will be useless kung hindi ka lang naman talaga nasa tamang kondisyon, okay? So, kailangan na nakaset ang mind natin that we will be studying so that we will be productive, we will be using our time for studying efficiently and productively. Okay. Number 4, organizing all requirements and tasks before you start doing them. So, kakambal nito itong number 3. Okay. So, this is this number 4 is in connection with number 3. So how are you going to be productive? So how are you going to be productive? So ito ang sagot, you have to organize all requirements and tasks before you start doing them. So sa junior high school learner, you have a lot of subjects to take. Naturally, your teachers will give you assignments, may mga projects yan, paperworks, exams, and many more. Ang dami ng task. Kasi grade 10 na kayo, so mas mataas na rin ang level ng learnings na dapat na makuha ninyo. So if you let those things pile up, so you are creating gigantic opponent that will soon knock you out. So iniipon nyo, mas lalaki, mas dadami. So once the tasks are given to you, include them in your calendar as part of your schedule on a particular day. So in this way, you are doing it in piecemeal, which prevents you from harboring fear of failing the subject. So, as much as possible, kailangan talaga natin ma-budget ang oras natin at ma-schedule natin para hindi matambak ang gagawin natin. Kasi ang tendency, sa dami ng kailangan nating accomplish, pag ikaw yung tao na si mamaya na o keep on procrastinating, so you have a tendency talaga, there will be a tendency na lalaki at dadami ang inyong mga schoolworks at darating oras na hindi mo nakakayanin ito at hindi mo ma-accomplish yung iba. So that will means failure. So as much as possible, try to organize everything, your requirements, your tasks bago mo ito simulan. Okay? And next, dismissing things that you don't understand. Okay, dahil hindi mo alam, parang dinidismiss mo lang, dinidedma mo na lang, or hinahayaan mo na lang. So, there are times that your teachers ask you, do you have any questions, class? Okay, and everyone would say, none. Ayan, karamihan ng mga estudyante, ang sinasabi ay, wala silang tanong. Pero ang katotohanan, marami silang tanong. It's either they just want to end the lesson and do something else. So, ang dahilan daw ay posible na gusto lang nilang i-end na yung lesson or to do something else totally, or they totally got the lessons. Yun lang naman ang mga dahilan, no? However, there are times that test scores say otherwise. Oo nga, sabi nyo wala na kayong tanong, pero yung pagdating ng result ng quiz mo, ng exam mo, kabaliktaran pala dahil marami kang tanong kaya hindi mo nasagot ang mga tanong sa iyong exams. So because you missed that opportunity to clarify or unlock your difficulty. So therefore, hindi ka kasi nagtanong kaya hindi mo na-unlock yung difficulty at hindi mo na-clarify yung kasagutan sa iyong tanong. So it resulted in failing score. So you have to be particular on the things that you don't understand in a lesson and have the initiative to deal it with your teacher during or even after class. So don't be shy to ask your teacher. Asking help from your high-performing classmates would also facilitate your comprehension. So if you think that you don't understand your lesson, so as I've said, do not hesitate to ask your teacher to ask your classmates as well, your high-performing classmates as well. Okay? So do not dismiss things that you don't understand. If you don't understand something, then better ask. Okay? And next, having random notes and confusing learning space. Ayan, may mga random notes ka ba and confusing learning space? That is part of the faulty study habits. Have you experienced writing notes on a random paper or notebook? Okay, kung saan-saan mo sinusulat. So it is definitely not a good practice for someone who wants their thoughts organized. So kung gusto mo na maging organized, so have a notebook intended for your notes. So, sabi dito, it will give you difficulties to retrieve your lessons and add up to your tasks. So, delegating a certain folder or notebook for each subject will make you segregate and organize the lessons as well. It is also important to take notes of the module learning kits as you read, and your notes will help you remember the good points you may need during examination. So without notes, you will need to reread and review the entire modules before the test. So your notes will help you save time and easily recall the main points. Because when you keep notes, diba, it is somehow, when we have notes that will serve as the summary of our lessons, the things that we need to learn. And at the same time, so mas mapapadali kasi shortcut ito ng lahat ng mga lessons natin. And again, sometimes, diba, we keep notes. Yeah, we do notes. We do note taking, but where do you put your notes? So it is a must that we have our own notebook for our particular subject. Okay. Another faulty study habits that we might have is having a crunch time for the exams the next day. Ayan, may crunch time ka ba? Ano ba itong crunch time na to? You might have experience trying to absorb all the lessons for a long test or even important performance task for the day. It's like you are getting food that are hard to chew. So making it tidbits by setting time to concentrate and focus on certain parts of the test coverage would make your life easier. It pays to be organized and disciplined in carrying out these things. Kasi nga, nagka-cramming ka. So, ang tendency mo is you tend to study all the things, all the coverage. Ayan. So, a day before the examination, that is only the time you studied the whole coverage of your examination. So, definitely, magkakaroon ka ng cramming. So, you will have this so-called crunch time. So, hindi mo siya madadigest. Basta-basta mahihirapan kang madigest dahil sa dami ng information na ibinibigay mo sa brain mo. So, magkakaroon ng information overload. So, anong sabi dito? Kailangan na magbigay tayo ng schedule sa mga bagay na kailangan nating pag-aralan. Huwag isang bagsakan lang. So, for example, for this particular day, you study lesson 1. For the next day, you study lesson 2. So, that's how you will properly study your lessons. And another thing is multitasking while studying. Ayan, marami akong narinig na ganito. Ay, so okay, okay lang sa akin, ma'am, kahit na may ginagawa ako, nag-aaral ako. Sometimes it works also, but majority hindi ito effective. Why? It's typical nowadays daw for some learners like you to go online on social media, watch TV, or even listen to music while studying. Napaka-typical yan sa inyo. Yan talaga yung gusto ninyo, di ba? Nag-Netflix habang nag-aaral, nag-Facebook habang nag-aaral. But, ang tanong, nagkaroon ka ba ng focus? Nagkaroon ka ba ng concentration? Nakapag-concentrate ka ba? Sabi dito, ayan, for some, they claim that it works, but for them, but it actually prevents them from being 100% focused. So try to remove distraction from your study area. So let us try to remove distractions from your study area and be mindful of what you're doing. So you will get to appreciate the details and even the areas for improvement if you are doing a school project or readings. You also easily understand the concepts and ideas of the lessons if you turn off your TV, music, social media, and anything that distracts you. So if you think that your that Facebook is not distracting you, then think again. If you think that the music is not distracting you, well, fine. So it's your choice, but again, it is said that our brain has only this limited capacity for concentration. So therefore, if you really want your study to be, if you really want your study habits to be effective, then do not multitask while studying. Okay? And another, repeating the ineffective study habits and mistakes. Ngayon, alam mo na yung mga ineffective study habits, yet you tend to do it again and again and again. So if you already know the certain actions or behavior do not help to get good grades, so bakit mo pa uulitin ngayong grade 10, di ba? Therefore, baguhin mo na. It's time for you to change. You have to make use of those insights and avoid putting yourself in a problematic situation. Hence, the courage and willingness to break those ineffective study habits and upgrade the effective ones. Tandaan ninyo, sabi ko nga, habang tumataas yung level natin, tumataas din yung level of difficulty. So, if you try to bring with you your old bad habits now, you will really have this difficulty to cope up with your lessons, especially mag-senior high school na kayo. So, and after ilang years, after senior high school, mas mataas na ang level of difficulty dahil college na kayo. So therefore, dapat ngayon pa lang matrain na kayo how to be organized, to be systematic in studying, and how to get rid of those ineffective study habits. Okay. So next, you are going to accomplish this for 15 minutes. This is entitled, You Can Do It. Okay. So based on the discussion, you're going to try to identify the ineffective or faulty study habits that you have and suggest ways on how you can change it that are doable on your part. Write your answers on a piece of paper. Ayan, na-enumerate na natin yung different faulty study habits. Alin ba doon yung meron kayo? Or baka naman meron kayong mga faulty study habits na hindi na-mention doon sa taas, yung 1 to 9. So, you can put there also some of your faulty habits or all your faulty habits para naman mabago natin ito. So, you're going to write your answers on a piece of paper. And sabi dito, after writing those faulty study habits, sabi dito, ilagay ang mga suggested ways ninyo kung paano ba nyo mababago ito sa part ninyo bilang estudyante. Okay. Maganda yon kasi at least nalaman mo na, nakita mo na ito pala mga faulty study habits ko. Ngayon, ano ba yung pwede kong gawin para mabago ito? Okay. So, mas maganda yun. Talagang na-internalize natin, ma-analyze natin, mas ma-evaluate natin yung sarili natin. Di ba? And next, what I have learned, suggested time allotment is 15 minutes. Sabi dito, among the study habits that you have, write an experience where it proves to be effective in attaining your desired grade and how you can still improve it in grade 10. Write your answer on a sheet of paper. Sabi naman dito, sa mga naging study habits mo naman, magsulat ka ng isang experience kung saan mapapatunayan mo na talagang effective ang ganitong study habits para maabot mo yung desired grade mo, yung talagang gusto mong grade, and paano ba ito mas may improve pa. Okay. And next, the last but not the least activity, okay? So, share your thoughts and feelings for 10 minutes. On a short bond paper, what you're going to do is you're going to draw a symbol that would remind you to become a better student this year. Ayan, napakaganda nito. Just a symbol. Okay? Ano ba yung isang bagay that symbolizes, ano ba yung isang bagay na maaaring makapag-remind sa'yo na kailangan mong maging better student this year? If you think that you are that you have been a good student last year. So this time, how are you going to be better? Okay. Isang symbol. It can be a thing. Siyempre, kailangan mo explain why ito yung inilagay mo. So it could be something that will direct you to break the faulty study habits or give you motivation to pursue learning and finish your studies. So try to use coloring materials if available. Ayan. Ano ba yung mga faulty study habits mo? Ano ba yung pwede mong mailagay dyan para ma-break mo yung mga faulty study habits that you have at mas ma-motivate ka to pursue learning at para matapos mo ang iyong pag-aaral. Just symbol anything. It could be a medal, a ladder, or it can be a trophy, a tree, whatever na maisip ninyo, as long as you can explain kung ano ba ang dahilan bakit ito ang naging symbol mo. Okay? And draw anything that you wish. And anyway, there's no wrong answers here. All your answers are accepted. So all your answers are welcome. Anyway, this is a form of self-evaluation din para ma-break na natin yung ating mga old study habits or bad study habits. Okay. So, okay, we're done with the Module 1. Grade 10 students, congratulations. So, I hope that you learned something from me this afternoon. So, it's raining here, so that's why medyo maingay ang ating background. But, I just hope that you were able to answer it. So, actually, napakaganda ng module ng grade 10 kasi ito na yung time wherein meron na tayong mga self-realizations, mga evaluations na yes, ito pala, mga self-assessment na sabihin natin sa sarili natin na yes, ito pala yung aking mga bad habits. Now, if these are my bad habits, now what shall I do? Or what should I do, di ba? So, napakaganda na bukod sa alam natin na ito pala yung bad habits natin. At this activity na ito, sa module na to, nabigyan din tayo ng pagkakataon para mabago ito dahil tayo mismo ang gumawa ng listahan kung paano natin mababago ito. Bukod dun sa listahan ng mga bad study habits natin, nakagawa din tayo ng mga pamamaraan kung paano natin ma-eradicate, ma-remove itong mga bad habits na ito. And at the same time, nabigyan din tayo ng parang inspiration because we were motivated by the symbol that we drew, diba? So, yung symbol na yon will remind us that we really have to pursue well and do something about our study skills, to do something about study habit skills if we really want to attain our goals. And at the same time, na-remind din tayo na pwede pala na ma-remove itong mga faulty study habits na ito at ma-correct din at the same time. Okay? So, that would be all for Module 1. So, napaka-interesting, di po ba? So, if you have any comments, suggestions, or anything that you would like to ask, okay, so you can comment down below. You can put your questions on the comment box. Definitely, we will try to answer all your queries. So again, this is Ma'am Tere Buena, your guidance counselor, saying bye and see you on our next module.